Welcome into the Dynasty Deal Show. I'm Ty at Ty Declare 44. I am joined by Shane at Shane Says FF. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is Scott Connor at Charles Chill FFB. Welcome in. We are here to discuss your trades, and the only way we can do that is if you become a member. So sign up, hit that little join button, use the join the Trades and Chill tier, $3.99 American, $5.99 Canadian. If you want a little bit more DD, hit that QR code in the bottom right corner. Sign up for the Discord and everything you have popping over there. This show goes up Friday morning, so if you want your trades on the show early on there, pop them in the chat early on. We'll get to everything that we can hit in an hour. So Scott, we have one rule in this show. If you hear this noise, we got to wrap it up and move on to the next one. But we'll start you off here with a 10-team start 7 trade. That's a 1 quarterback, PPR, no tight end premium. John has T-Law, JJ McCarthy, Christian McCaffrey and Bucky, Nico, Pickens, Myers. We got Kittle and Jonnu. We haven't had the rookie draft yet. We still have 101, 102, 104, 4 27 firsts. The trade is JJ McCarthy, Bucky Irving, 104, and a 26 second for CeeDee Lamb and Baker Mayfield. So we can get into that trade, but Scott, also want to know, how do you go about team constructing and constructing trades in a league this crazy shallow when hammers are hard to come by? So how aggressive are you willing to be to hammer hunt? So are you willing to overpay in a league like this, Scott? And what are you doing here? CD and Baker or JJ McCarthy, Bucky, 1-4 and a 26 second?
Well, John, thank you for the welcome back with putting my mind in a 10-by-7, which might be the shallowest league that we've had a trade question on. Definitely on this show, but going back a ways. I mean, this is 70 starters and it's 1 QB. So you're really looking at each position by itself and just trying to get the best I can at each position. Because if you're weak at one spot, you're looking at it's a huge percentage of your team that is just weak. And so you almost have to abandon everything we know about actual dynasty value here and just literally look at each spot as its own position. So it's a 10-by-7. I mean, looking at this trade specifically before we get to the construction, my mind immediately goes to best player in the deal. I could care less about the quarterback swap here. Like, that has zero value. Don't care about any quarterbacks that you have, nor most likely any quarterbacks that you're going to trade for. So you could give up T-Law and JJ McCarthy in the deal for Baker, and it wouldn't matter. So then it's Bucky, 104 and a 26 second for CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb's the best player in the deal. Looking at your roster construction, I mean, I'd say receiver and running back are both equal needs. But ultimately, it comes down to who's going to score the most and what else can I do with the stuff that I'm adding to the extra side. So I'm actually okay if I can do something else with the 104. Not taking CeeDee Lamb for Bucky, because I think you could argue that over the next year or two, it wouldn't be shocking if Bucky scored pretty close or even exceeded CeeDee Lamb. I'm not betting on it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. And 104 could be another higher end starter, right? Like, it could be another 15 plus point per game player, which is like the minimum you'd have to get to here, Shane. Like, if you're not in the 15 point plus per game range, like, you are just an extra throw in piece. You know what I mean? So I think it comes down to how confident are you what you can do with the 104? Because if I told you that turns into another, I don't even want to say another Bucky Irving, because he obviously didn't come from the 104 range. But if that's Travion Henderson and he becomes, Chase Brown plus, like, that's a better deal. That I'd still rather have those two than one CeeDee Lamb, unless you have another huge deal lined up where you can move some of those 24 or 27 first. So I'll let Shane answer, and then we can talk about the construction. But I have some thoughts, but go ahead, Shane.
I have some thoughts. I mean, as far as particular hammer hunting, that's all you effing do. Like, there's no depth. Yeah. 10-by-7, I could give absolutely no cares. I'm trying not to curse, right? Because it's the first 10 minutes you get demonetized. I could give no poopies about depth. I will obviously overpay for a hammer. So just go back to this deal for me. So it was JJ McCarthy, Bucky, a 104 and a second for CD and Baker. I am a little lower on Bucky than most people, or a lot of people. 104, we're probably talking about Trev Henderson. You think that's probably Trev?
Yeah, and he's getting I guess the part that probably makes this deal more of a sway on one side is that you have the 101 and 102, and you're probably drafting rookie running backs with those 2 picks. So it's like, I don't want to take a third rookie running back, which is probably what I'd be taking at 104.
Yeah.
And I can turn it into a top 5 receiver. So it feels like if you didn't have both of those firsts and your roster was a little more ambiguous, then fine. But knowing that you have Genty and Hampton are clearly the top 2 picks in this format, given how scarce things are probably at running back on the high end, like that makes you do whatever it takes to get a receiver. Because there isn't a CD in this class. There could be 3 or 4 Buckies in this class.
Well, talked about it before that in shallow leagues, right? Like I'm shooting high, and I think the one receiver with the biggest ceiling in it is Travis Hunter. So is Travis Hunter, Bucky? I almost don't want Baker back for JJM. I guess you need a quarterback back. It's 1 QB. I don't need it. Give me something else, anything else. I don't care. A second. Give me another second. I don't want Baker. But I'm fine taking the deal. But no,
when it comes to construction, though.
No, I'm not taking this deal because then I'm basically trading CD Lamb, hoping that I can get CD Lamb. That's it.
Well, no, he's getting CD in this deal.
He's getting CD? Oh, well, then I'm taking it.
And he's got the 101 and 102, and the manager that's trading him CD is allowing him to get the deal without the 101 or the 102. So he's turning 104, which is his 3rd best pick, right? If I'm the other manager, I'm going, dude, you got to give me that 102 if you want CD Lamb. Yeah. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the positional construct. Because again, we're abandoning like trade value here, right? It is all about best player in each spot. And right now you don't have a second receiver that is a locked and loaded start every week player, but you already have that with CMC, Bucky, and you're adding Hampton and Genty to this roster. Positional balance, you're probably taking the receiver. I think the other thing that people underrate in these super shallow leagues, Ty, I want to hear you speak on this too, because you get a lot of trade questions on All Gas Trade Show that are shallower leagues, right? 10 by 10s, 12 by 9s. Like, I think people undervalue just picks in general, because let me ask you, Ty, what is the threshold in a 10 by 7 where you would say picks don't become, well, I hope they outkick their coverage by 3x, otherwise they're not valuable? It's in this format, it's what, like the mid first at best?
At best, yeah. Like you have to have a high range there at the first. Like if it's a back end first, it's probably not moving.
112 is no better than 212, right? In a league like this. So wouldn't you rather, if you can't, because you're going to get to a point where the league just goes, nobody will trade a hammer ever. And so what's the second best way to get deals done when nobody will trade a hammer? Get as many shots at everything that I can, meaning I never want to hold on to Jacoby Myers for more than half a season. He's useless. I would rather have a 3rd round pick, because that could be next year's Tyrone Tracy, which I might be able to sell in a very small window for a profit. Jacoby Myers, I don't care if he scores 12 points a game for the next 5 years. He's useless here. He's no better than a guy I could pick up off waivers. So I think the value in shallow leagues is you want to be the team that turns their roster over outside of your top 8 to 10 players. Doesn't even matter who else you have. Like Jonnu Smith, I'd almost rather have anything young and fresh and new every year. I want in every roster spot except for my core starters. And people don't do that. They throw away all their late picks and they go, well, they don't matter here. But you might want to go the other way and go, I have my locked and loaded 7-8 starters. Every other thing I have is a rookie pick, because then I get 20 new players next year, and I hope that 1 out of those 20 is Bucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you think about every single team in your league is going to have a deep team, right? Like there's not going to be much of a difference between your Jacoby Myers and probably your Wan'Dale Robinsons as far as like what that part of your roster is going to be. So yeah, I'll bet I can definitely replace those things cheaper. I can find flex players. So if I can have as many picks, as many flexible things that I can throw at something to get something done, it's kind of what you got to do. And Scott, we talked about some of these leagues where players and assets become so siloed on these championship teams, and it just becomes such a dichotomy between everyone that it takes monumental things to get things done. So how do you go about team constructing in a crazy shallow league? You got to come correct, and you got to strike at the right time. So if I'm sitting here and like I said, I have this team, it's got pieces, right? But I'm not like, I don't know. I think there, and again, if you're telling me that I am taking the side that gets less assets in a trade in a 10-by-7, I'm probably going to want the side that gets the single asset. So if you're good to say the quarterback swap doesn't matter here, Bucky 1 for a second for CD. Yeah, it's going to come down to what you can do with that package, but I'm probably just going to take CD. Now, let me ask you something, Scott. If you have both CD and Pickens on such a shallow roster, does that create another move you have to make? Because or do you want to bet solely on a single outcome in a single offense there?
It's a good question. I mean, you know what it makes me want to do is just go get Dak instead of T-Law and just go all in. But the problem with Pickens on this team is you have to make sure he's in one of your starting spots. Otherwise, you're like, damn it. This week it was a Pickens week and not a CD week, but Pickens was on my bench and I had Dak. So I kind of got those points, but I didn't fully capitalize them. And it hurt the guy that I was starting in CD. So it's very, very shallow to have multiple players on the same offense, especially at the same position. But I could live if you went CMC, Genty, Hampton, and then I'm just starting the Cowboys passing game. And the weeks they blow up, if my running backs produce, I'm winning. The weeks they struggle, it makes me a little more volatile, but I don't hate it. But I would want to get Dak. I don't want both Cowboys receivers if I'm not in on Dak on the same team.
And Shane,
is Pickens good enough in a 10-by-7 as your wide receiver too?
If you have Dak and you're betting on the Cowboys being a top 5 passing offense, and that's the bet you're making. Right. That's why you get Dak, because you're betting on the whole team.
You're playing a tournament stack at that point. You're just doing a tournament
betting on the team being a top 5 offense. And
I might as well go get Miles Sanders, Jake Ferguson, Kevontae Turpin. Well, maybe not Kevontae Turpin.
Shane goes all the way in. But Shane, doesn't that speak to how aggressive you're willing to be when you are hammer hunting, right? Is you have to be able to lean all the way in. And Scott, like you're saying, like I'm okay building like a glass cannon, because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like most of the teams are going to be wrong at the end of the year. But if I can thread the needle with the team in a 10-by-7, that's how championships are won. So I'm willing to play a little more risky, but again, you just got to know.
You want to build your team in a way that differentiates itself from the other teams, because it can't just be that I have good players. Because in a 10-by-7, unless there's just absolute donkeys in the league, everybody has a good team. Everyone's looking at their roster going, oh, this team could win because there's only 70 players rostered.
Well, and last thing, we can move on to the next trade. A lot of times in these shallow leagues, you can be right, but also not win and not take advantage of being right. Like you look at your bench and go, man, I had that breakout Tank Dell. In a league like this, Tank Dell was shit. Doesn't matter how good he was. You hardly would got anything out of him, even when he was good. So you were right on Tank Dell, but it was so shallow that it didn't matter. And if you didn't move him for another type of deal, it was irrelevant whether you were right. Like if you're betting on the Cowboys offense, but you don't start one of Dak, or you have Dak and T-Law and Pickens, and you don't start Dak and Pickens half the time, who cares if they're a top 5 offense? You didn't set your roster up to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. All right. There we go. We'll hit the sounder. We'll wrap this one up. Good job. We got it started.
The Scott, 10-by-7 got that. Yeah. Got the 15-minute response.
Shouts out to the 10-by-7s. Anthony West shouts out Scott. We got Dorf in the building. Welcome back, Scott. Happy Friday. The GOAT. The people are out. Hey, if you have any more trades, pop them in there. We might have some time at the end of the show here. But
I'm sorry. Just every time I see Dorf, I think of Dorf on golf. You remember that? Wasn't it Dorf?
Oh my gosh, yes. Dorf on everything. Baseball.
Yeah. Anyway,
golf, everything. Love it.
Well, we'll have a Dorf on trade question at the end of the show here. But right now we got Anthony, a 10-team start 10. It's a super flex PPR. We got Josh Allen, Drake May, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs. We got Puka Nacua, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, Hunter, Travis Hunter, I assume, Rashee Rice, Trey McBride. Are you giving up Drake May, Michael Pittman, and Jalen McMillan to get Dak and a 26 first? No future picks, shallow, decent waiver options. So Shane, I'm going to start with you here, man. May, Pittman, and McMillan for Dak and a 26 first and a 10-by-10. People like May, but does the format lean to getting more than Dak and a first for this package?
the package really isn't all that impressive. It's May carrying all the water, right? It's 10 by 10. Pitman's probably shouldn't be starting for you in a 10 by 10, right? I'm just going to look at these wide receivers again real quick. Let's see. Puka, Neighbors, Nico, Hunter, Rasheed, as long as he's not in prison. Yeah, no, I'm never starting Pitman. McMillan will never see the light of day on my roster. So I get it's not just Dak in the 26 first for May. For me, that's enough. Yes, because I think the value that people have on May right now, unless he puts up a top 7 season, people are going to come back and go, you know what? Maybe this guy isn't what we thought he is. Maybe he isn't the QB7 overall in Dynasty. Mm-hmm. I think the production between him and Dak, I quite frankly think Dak will have a better season than him. So, yeah, I'll take Dak and I'll take the extra pick.
Now, Scott, I know you're seeing shallow, decent waiver options, Pitman, McMillan, this team. Feels like you can probably find that 10th starter at any point here, maybe for cheaper. So if you can get a similar quality quarterback in terms of points and a first versus the package, like where are you leaning here?
Yeah, so there's 3 factors. 1, it's a 10 by 10. I don't care about the quarterback, quote unquote, upgrade. You can even debate whether Dak to May is an upgrade. From a dynasty value standpoint, it is. But Dak's been pretty good. So you're betting big on May being exactly where he's valued production-wise over the next year or two for this deal to pay off, to keep May over Dak. So that's the first thing. 10 by 10, it actually devalues that advantage there a little bit if you don't think Drake May is the next Josh Allen, right? So if you're just kind of betting Mays on the high end of the non-elite quarterbacks and Dak somewhere in the middle, then I'm okay doing this in a 10 by 10. Second thing is you do have Josh Allen, so I care less who my QB2 is. I can live with Dak as my QB2. Josh Allen's carrying the water for at least half of that second spot. And so getting the downgrade, even though on paper I'm like, yeah, it's a downgrade value-wise, but with the way my roster's set up, I need Dak to carry a little less here because I have Josh Allen. And then the third thing is you're basically taking 2 guys that are outside of the startable range threshold. Maybe Pitman is like a nice second flex off the bench in a 10 by 10, but you're combining those and turning them into a first. I mean, we had a morning drive this morning that talked about this exact thing, turning a quarterback in the non-elite range, starting with, what was it, Mahomes, Shane? Mahomes, Herbert, May, that tier that's like at the upper echelon of the non-elite guys. Yeah. For any of the guys in the middle, as low as Bryce Young, Michael Penix, like you're getting a first on top. The first is more powerful in a 10-teamer because I don't want another quarterback, right? I want something more flexible. So I'm doing this all day because I think your roster's set up to take this type of downgrade, and you could look up and go, dude, it didn't hurt me at all. And now I have a first to play with, which now you can go with a first plus something else and try to upgrade elsewhere. But I'm doing this all day. Great trade.
Yeah. And you clear up 2 roster spots in the making too. So you can go and take advantage of those shallow waivers even better. So I like this as well, Anthony. Anything else on this one, Shane?
No, I mean, look, this is one of those teams this is like a summer boredom league where like if you're bored, like you just want to do something, but you probably shouldn't, right? Maybe you could upgrade at running back, but like, I wouldn't be doing a lot to this team only because obviously that core, like if you got Puka, Neighbors, and Nico and Hunter, I think you're okay. Yeah, I think there's not a lot to do here.
Yeah. Hey, Ty, can I ask you a question on this one real quick?
Yeah.
In a 12 by 12, would you do that trade? Just putting it out there because I think the McMillan and Pitman being able to throw them in and not care at all and just look at them like they're waiver pieces, even though they're clearly guys that should be better than waivers. The format allows you to kind of go, oh, you want Pitman? Sure, you can have him. You want McMillan? Sure, you can have him. But in a, let's say 12 by 12, where at least one of those guys is starting for you or could be a starter, you're less hesitant to do this type of deal. But that's where the format really matters, and being able to abandon the fact that Michael Pitman is a flex receiver. Here, he's nothing. It's back to the conversation before, right? Like he's no different than Wan'Dale Robinson, truthfully, in terms of where your roster is. So it's savvy to throw those guys in. That probably got the deal done versus May versus Dak for a first. The optics of that 2-for-1 is harder to get somebody to accept.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, at the end of the day, I don't want to let guys like a Pitman or McMillan hold up deals if this person values them and we can get something done. Like, I'm cool to get it done, but yeah, as you increase the number of teams, as you increase the number of starters, you got to have a plan if you're doing that. I don't want to make this move and then create 2 more trades I have to make or create more problems. So yes, like Pitman, those guys, they can mean more in a 12 by 12, but I'm probably still just trying to throw them in to get something done and construct around it. But Shane, you mentioned summer boredom and Dynasty Mark's in it's kind of the same mindset here. So he needs help going through a small dead period, post rookie draft, pre-camp, came across this offer. But first, here's context. 10 team, start 10. It's a 10 team show. Superflex, 1.5 PPR. We got Mahomes, we got Kyler Murray, we got Sam Darnold, we got Russell Wilson, we got Kyron Williams, Chase Brown, James Conner, Pacheco. We got Chase, Justin Jefferson, Puka, and Rashee Rice with a unsure face because it was NFL Knucklehead week this week. We got all the news. JMO, McBride, Kelsey. The offer is Josh Allen, I assume, and Marvin Harrison Jr. for Kyler Murray and Jamar Chase. Mark asked Shane, am I just bored and trying to make a move, or does this make sense with Kyler Murray's, quote, inconsistency? I also have Travis Hunter, but this is an IDP league, so he's in my DB slot. Interesting. So Shane, is he just bored, or is Josh Allen and Marv for Murray and Chase?
Yes. It's very lateral of me. I think the difference between Kyler and Josh Allen is less than it is between Marvin Harrison Jr. and Chase. But I think in the end, it literally just washes itself out. And unless Marvin Harrison turns into, well, basically what we thought he was going to be right out of the chute, which is, it's in the realm of possibility. Other than that, though, it's a wash to me. It feels very lateral. I don't like deals like this because you're not winning. Even if you are winning, it's not by enough that it's discernible.
That's fair. And again, 10 teams, start 10, Scott, like, does the 10 team, I know we talk about like the elite quarterbacks in a 10 team can almost matter more because it's so condensed at the top, but does it still just lean towards the wide receiver in a format like this for you?
Yeah, this is kind of a tough one to put your head around because I think it comes down to your evaluation of Kyler. Like, if you think Kyler is not going to be Josh Allen, but he continues to finish in the top 6 to 10 over the next couple years, then actually in a 10-teamer, what happens is it isn't that the positional advantage for Allen matters more. Clearly, it matters more because less quarterbacks matter overall, right? Like, the condension of all the quarterbacks make it to where the floor is just higher of what you have to compete. So if you're higher on that range, you're going to think, okay, well, everybody has better quarterback rooms. I need an even better quarterback room. At the same time, though, you're sitting here thinking, like, if Kyler can give me, like, it really comes down to a preference. And you're betting on Kyler and you're betting on Marv in different directions here. Because if Kyler is close enough to Josh Allen, I'm more confident Kyler's closer to Josh Allen than Marvin Harrison just produces 90% of what Jamar Chase does. And I definitely know if I don't think it's Marvin Harrison, I could take Jamar Chase and go get Brian Thomas, or you know what I mean? I could get something closer and still get the plus and not necessarily have to deal with the quarterback back and forth. So I don't know. It's tough because I think it really comes down to the construction of the other teams in your league. Like in a 10 by 10, I'm kind of looking at the 2 or 3 teams that I have to compete with. Like, can I afford a receiver downgrade, or can I afford a quarterback downgrade or upgrade here? So it's tough. I do think the quarterback advantage matters less, though, inherently, because you have to assume the 2 or 3 teams you're battling with, one has Jaden, one has Lamar, one has Hurts. There's all of them have a second quarterback that's not Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? It's their second QB is T-Law or Jordan Love or Dak Prescott, all that could finish in the top 10. So like, you really have to look at your quarterback room as a whole, not just the positional advantage. What do I have in both spots? Is it high enough on that threshold?
Yeah. I think if I had this team, Mark, in Mahomes, Murray, you got Sam Darnold and Wilson, like I don't feel like I'm lacking at quarterback there. And when I look at the team and I see that I have a Trey McBride, for some reason that makes me not want to trade that Kyler. If I'm going to bet on McBride, can I bet on the Kyler McBride connection? Can I do that? keep the Jamar Chase. This is also speaking from someone who is desperately trying to get some more Jamar Chase in Dynasty. So if you have Chase in my leagues, please, I will pay for him. But anywho, I think that I would stick with the Chase and Kyler. Bet that I'm not going to lose at quarterback with this team, but coming to the table with Chase, JJ, and Puka in a league like this, I think that can tip the scales, Mark. So could be a little bit of dynasty boredom. You know, Gabe and I on the All Gas Trade Show, we did the first show this year. We went back and reviewed our mistakes, and most mistakes happened in July. So put the phone down, take it easy, but there's still deals to be made here. Shane, anything else on this one?
It's just funny because you just get to that point, and me and Diaz were doing a trade yesterday, and we just kept going back and forth, and it's not even like I'm not even sure the trade helps me. It's literally like something to do right now. I'm doing something involving fantasy football. I don't have a show tonight. Don't have a roster review, so I guess this will entertain me for the next hour and a half.
Is that the one where Diaz said it's like trying to negotiate peace in the Middle East?
There's a lot of back and forth. There was definitely a lot of back and forth.
Gotcha. A lot of emissaries and gifts and yes, all that good stuff. But Roy G, what's up, buddy? 12 team start 10. It's a super flex lineup league. 1 point tight end premium, standard, PPR, otherwise. So the team after the trade is Jaden Daniels. We got Herbert and Cam. We got Hendo and Nada. Who's Nada? We didn't get Loveland last time, Shane, but
Nada is nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I'm looking at Hendo as like it's Hendo and normally it's cans or whatever, but it's just nothing. No other running backs.
Y'all hit me with this stuff past 10 p.m. my time. Like it's risky business, but yeah, Hendo and Nada. Gotcha. Addison, Tet, Ibuka. We got Jaden Reed, Tyler Warren, and Gesicki. So the team is trash and in a slow rebuild. Send away Mims and Rome of Dunze. And got Reed in a 26 first and third. Now he has 4 firsts, multiple seconds, and third. Never sure when to pull the trigger in these situations and push the chips in. I know it's not yet. So it's always an interesting conversation, Shane, right? Like when do you actually push in? And it's sometimes it's a moving target because you got to kind of assess where the league is and when opportunities come up. But we also don't know a lot of things that are going to happen until we get to the point scoring season. So, I mean, Shane, it's a decent team. We send away Mims and Rome. We get Reed a first and a third. You start getting more picks in a 12 by 10 super flex lineup. How do you feel here?
So I got JVD, Herbert, and Cam, right? So my quarterbacks are fine. Hendo and Nada. I don't like Nada. My wide receivers aren't built to win right now, are they? Right? Addison, Tet, Ibuka, Reed, Warren. This team isn't trash. It isn't trash. So I get another first. Is the byline or the centerpiece art, whatever. The big lead. The lead, that's what it is. Yeah, I'll do the deal. I mean, it's not this team isn't trash, but it's definitely not winning this year. Unless, Tet and Ibuka come out and are both put up, say, I don't know, Lad McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr. type rookie seasons, which isn't impossible. I just don't see it. So yeah, I'm probably making this deal.
Yeah. And if I have this team, like I'd almost want to be in a situation where, okay, if Ibuka, if Tet, if these guys have the seasons that we dream about, then I have 4 firsts and a bunch of stuff in my back pocket that I can then push in with when it makes sense. But I like having the flexibility on this kind of a team. I mean, I can't say, Scott, I truly can't say no to 4 firsts. But I mean, Mims, Rome, Reed, first and a third. Do you feel like, are you selling a tiny bit short? Maybe, but in the end of the day, you're making your team better, or how do you feel?
No, I mean, when you're dying of thirst, you can't be picky and say you'll only drink smart water. That's kind of what this is. Your team's not good. 4 of your best 6 assets are rookies. So like Shane said, it doesn't matter how good they are. You're probably not winning without multiple other moves. And if you just break this down, like I like this type of deal because you got back a first for Roma Dunze. Probably could get maybe a little more depending on the manager, but that's a fair price when, again, you can't be picky about the type of water you're getting. You're getting a liquidated first for a player that probably isn't worth too much more, if not just that. And then you're trading away Mims, who there's a world where you could look at Mims and Reed and go, if I want Mims, there's not a huge difference between the two. But I do think where Reed came from, getting Reed back in a third, Reed, I think, has a better chance 2 weeks into the year, people go, okay, I'll trade for him now too. And you got that side. So you have Reed parked. Reed might be your 4th or 5th receiver going forward. Like he's still, even though he hasn't become great, he's still probably more marketable if he has a few good games than Mims. So you actually upgraded in the second piece here. You never know. You might be able to tack something onto Jaden Reed and get another first a month into the season. I don't think you're doing that for Mims. So I like the deal because I think you have to be very not picky when it comes to what type of deals you're getting, but you are pushing the value forward with this deal and giving yourself a little more flexibility. So you got to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Do you see any other things you would do with this team, Scott? I mean, we're good at quarterback. Again, we know there's a need at running back. We don't need to fill that need at running back on this team. Like, do you see anything else that really strikes you on this one?
Two things. It might be tough to do with Addison, but can I do a similar deal with Addison? Can I tack something onto Addison and make a deal? Or can I do the old rope-a-dope deal with Herbert, down tier off Herbert? I have Jaden Daniels, right? I can use that quarterback too as a conduit to more value. Can I go Herbert and Jaden Reed for JJ McCarthy in a 1st and a 2nd or something like that? Because I don't care about the Reed, even Addison piece that much. But I have Addison, so can I go Herbert plus, I don't know, throw in Gesicki and the 3rd and try to get McCarthy in a 1st, even if it's a 27 first? Because now you have McCarthy as your QB2, right? And you have a purpose for him. It's more of a lowest common denominator at QB2, but you've turned Herbert into more value. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm sending those deals out. No one's going to come to you and go, oh, man, I really love that Herbert. Let me send you my Penix in a 1st. Like, you have to work the deals to these managers, figure out who those quarterbacks in that tier are, Bryce, Penix, whoever it is, and go send those deals. Cam Ward, like, go send those out to the managers and don't be picky. It's 26 first, 27 first. If you really have to have Jaden Reed, maybe you kick me back a 2nd, whatever it is, but give them multiple iterations. You never know when you'll catch one of those flies that's bored over the summer, Shane. They're looking for a place to lay those eggs.
Everyone
right there.
Everyone.
Yes.
That's why you send out the offers, right? But
Yep.
you know, it's important to make sure that you're sending out offers like that, not the offers like you're not the dude on the other end or woman of that trade, right? You're not the one that's sending out the fish trades just because you want to make a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, good stuff, Roy. Again, like I was just gonna say, are you picky at all? Like on the first you're getting back, like early, late, whatever. No, you can't be. Just take whatever first you can find the right deal, know the ranges. Good stuff there, Roy. Have fun. Don't make too many board deals though. We've all been there. Jackson Tribe, 12 team, start 9. It's a super flex, the PPR league. We send Pacheco and Pearsall for Hawkinson in a 27 second. So we got Josh Allen, Bijan, AK, CD, London, Tyreek, Connor, Joey Burrow, and Hunter Henry as our starters. On the bench, we got Ibuka, Godwin, Kupp, Sampson, and Spears. So this is part 1. I think this is all the parts we got. Shane, it's a non-tight end premium league. Pacheco, Pearsall, Hawkinson, and a 27 second. I mean, people like Pearsall.
No, I get it. People aren't that bright. I get it. I understand. There's a lot of really dumb people in the world because he had, I think he had 2 good games. There's advanced analytics that I've heard that tell me that he had like 3 good games. I didn't see it. Dude's injured again, by the way, because that's what he does. And I'm not going to make light of him getting shot because that's just bad luck. But throughout his college career, the dude was injured. He did absolutely nothing last year. He ran empty calorie routes all last season. I think for 3 games, he had 3 good games, and people are trying to convince me that he's going to be good. I don't see it, you know. I know that other people do. Pacheco for 2nd, yes. Hawkinson for Purcell. However you want to break it up, yeah. I'll take Hawkinson over Pacheco or Purcell. I'm not going to learn how to correctly say his name. I'll be out of the league before I need to. And a 27 second over either one of those. So, yeah, give me the right-hand side.
Fair enough. Scott, I want your thoughts on someone like a Hawkinson in a non-tight end premium league where, I mean, I feel like I'm pretty bullish on Hawkinson and what he can be at this year, but I mean, how much does that matter in a deal like this? And again, like, where does the Pearsall kind of balance in there for you? Because he's one of those guys, if you back talk or if you bad talk him at all, people are going to come out and say, he got shot, dude. Like, what are you doing? But I'm with you, Shane. Like, I'm not all the way there, but Scott, go ahead.
I don't know why this came to mind, but I remember when I first moved into one of my first places in college, like off-campus apartments, I had 2 really nice bikes. But you know what I didn't have? A mattress. The bike was worth more than the mattress, but I could have used the mattress, and I just didn't have the foresight to go, you know what, let me sell the bike. So I slept on, not something uncomfortable for a while until I ended up getting the mattress. Like, you need Hawinson here. If you're looking at your team and you're trying to thread the needle, he's an upgrade from what you have. You're starting Hunter Henry. But I think if you truly are willing to abandon the names and just look at like the war in the format, you're like, man, if Hawkinson's tight end's 5 and Henry's tight end 12, doesn't kill me to just have tight end 12. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already not getting an advantage at that spot. Pacheco, okay, on this roster, Pacheco's probably a guy I could use if he's my RB3, RB4. It looks like he's your RB4 if you count Connor. Okay. Like, I don't mind having him on the bench, but I don't need him. And I'll say this about Pearsall. Here's the thing, Shane. All of their receivers have something wrong with them.
They do, man.
So there's a world where Pearsall is the guy that comes into the season, smashes, and he's worth a first after week 1. That's never happening with TJ Hawkinson. You know what I mean? I'm getting the second here, but I think the more equitable side of this trade is having just Pacheco as my RB5 and Pearsall as my wide receiver 5.
Right.
And just taking the tight end 12 that I have in Hunter Henry and worried about it then. Now, if you can change out something and get McBride, then okay, I'll add something better to Pacheco or Pearsall to get McBride. But the way this stands, I don't think I'm helping my team. This looks like a boredom trade. I'm looking at my lineup saying I need an upgrade, but you're selling yourself that the name TJ Hawkinson is a clear upgrade. And here's the thing, like, show me the last rookie QB that has supported a third weapon in an offense as a rookie. And Addison's ahead of Hawkinson in terms of the pecking order. We're assuming, but the point is you're betting on something that I'm not even sure I really want to bet on with Hawkinson. And he's not a positional advantage. I don't think we all agree with that, right? Like, at best, he's tight end 3, 4 at the very best.
Yeah, you could get up to tight end 4. Yeah. Look, a lot of this is a player take, right? I don't see it in Purcell. If Purcell wasn't a white boy, no one would give a flying hat about him. It's that simple. It is that simple. He would just be another dude. If his name was Jerome Sampson, absolutely nobody would care about him. But his name's Ricky. I don't know.
There's a Dylan Sampson and a Jerome Simpson.
That's who I was thinking of. I was literally thinking of Jerome Simpson. Anyway, if that was his name, we wouldn't care about him. You know what I mean? But dude, if Demarcus Robinson wasn't starting the season suspended, I'd say Demarcus Robinson would run laps around this kid.
You know who I'd rather have in this deal, to be honest, Ty? Give me Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
That actually is good.
Because I have Allen. I'm already riding on Allen on the team. Maybe I can get something better than a second back. Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe I can get 2 seconds. I don't know, because I think most people have Kincaid below Hawkinson. But find some extrinsic reason to take a deal like this versus just, hey, now, because what do you do with Hunter Henry here now, Ty? He actually is devalued on your own team because you just put Hawkinson in his place. And now you're like, what do I do with Hunter Henry? And it'll be like, well, you don't need him. Sell him for a 4th. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to do this.
Yeah, and he's that's the problem with Hunter Henry too, is he's too good to cut. But then every week I'm like, I can't start this guy, and then he's going to drop 2 touchdowns, and Dalton can.
Oh, he'll outscore Hawkinson 40% of the time, and you'll kick yourself for having this platoon that you never get right.
Absolutely, you will never get it correct. No, absolutely.
I just pulled up Ricky Pearsall's Trinity score from weeks 14 to 17. Pulled up the Trinity range of outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't used it there, head on over to the QR code at the bottom of the corner screen right behind Jackson Tribe here. Bang. How do you feel about if it's Michael Wilson season from last year, all 7.5 points per game for Ricky Pearsall, weeks 14 through 17? Really something to write home about.
I think, yeah, that's good. And that's when he did well, right? That's when he did well.
So. I tried to click through to find the range that would be kind of rose-colored glasses for him, but it's all kind of in the same range. He kind of, like Shane, like you said, he did stuff, but he kind of outproduced what he was asked to do, and it was a pretty small sample size as well. So, again, he could be one of the only healthy ones in the offense, but not right now. So we'll see. Again, I would probably try to do something similar to what you're saying there, Scott. Is can I use that for some additional and extrinsic value. I don't just want to do it just to do it. I'm not doing this just to get the second as well. Like you can probably craft it in a way that makes sense, but hey, like I said, don't make board trades, but if you can optimize a little bit in the off season, let's have some fun.
Oh crap. Yeah. We got to use the synergic. Nope. Synergy.
Whoa.
We got to have synergy and use the word optimization at some point. Darn it.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we usually wait for about 40 minutes into the show to throw in the title of the show. So we'll keep
stuff.
up that streak.
Good
but
stuff.
Matthew Kuran, it's 14 teams, start 10. Let's go. We're out of the 10s. We're out of the 12s. We're into 14. 14 by 10. Superflex, PPR. We got a 0.5 tight end premium. It's a 4-point passing touchdown, -1 interception. We got Herbert, Bo Nix. We got Mixon, Swift, Caleb Johnson, and any running back on a 52. We got Chase. We got Neighbors. We got Ladd. We got Waddle. We got Myers and Burden. We got Hunter, Henry, and Gesicki. We got an extra 27 first, early to mid, and a 26 second. Is a top-heavy contender, a top-heavy league with one super team coming off back-to-back championships. How much to add on to Waddle to go after Nico? A lot. We're swapping a wide receiver for a high-end running back. Okay, so two kind of questions there. What are you adding on to Waddle to get up to a Nico in a 14 by 10, Scott?
I mean, I think Waddle in a first for Nico is a fair deal. I also think in a 14-teamer, I'm willing to be a little more loose with firsts just because there's wider ranges of outcomes with them. 14-teamers, I think I'm in like 10 14-teamers. And I find myself typically going, man, can I get that sweetheart 2-for-1 type deal with my first? Because it just means more when you're talking 14 by 10. There's 140 starters. He said there's a top-heavy team, so I actually have a hard time thinking I need to add like 3 pieces to get one when I'm going after a top-heavy team. It feels like I need to be the one that spreads my wings a little wider in hopes that something outkicks the coverage that it already has. So I kind of want to bet on a guy like Waddle here. What else can I add? Like, what can I add to Luther Burden to get another starter? Like that type of deal. Or a first and a second, what else can I buy? Maybe I don't want to buy that right now, but depending on if there's a trade deadline, can I hold that in reserve until I know that I'm one of the top 2 or 3 teams that's going after the super team and then buy something down the stretch? But it just feels like I look at this roster. I mean, it's not sexy, but you probably have one of the top 3 or 4 running back rooms in the league. I mean, you have Caleb, Swift, and Mixon. That's 3 top 24 to 30 running backs. You know what I mean? Like there's probably not 10 teams with better running back rooms than you. And then Chase, Neighbors, Ladd. Like I don't need to upgrade at that next receiver spot. It kind of feels like I want to bet on Waddle. What else can I add to this roster? Because I think it's good. Like I think it has. I mean, hell, Shane, wouldn't you rather upgrade at quarterback here if you could? Like add a first to Herbert to try to go get an elite quarterback. Again, a 14-teamer. You never know.
I would add a first to Herbert. I'd rather use Waddle to get a running back. And I know he asked that on the other side. We're swapping a wide receiver for a high-end running back. I'd rather do that.
Like what kind of running back? A first and Waddle, what kind of running back do you get? And you can't get Bijan, Gibbs, or Genty.
Well, then what are we talking about? Then Waddle for a chain, and I'll give you a second with Waddle. I'll give you a second and Waddle for a chain. I'll give you a second and Waddle for Barkley. I'll give you a second and Waddle for.
I mean that Waddle for Barkley, Waddle for CMC. I could see those being deals that could be a big swing and a hit.
Waddle for Josh Jacobs. No extra, no juice on the other side. Not adding a second to that, but I think I'd rather do that than add to Waddle when, look, my wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 are, my wide receiver 1 and 2 are 2 of the top 5 wide receivers. Like that's just not an area that I need to fix. And then I have Myers just hanging out there. And if Burden's another dude, like what can I use Burden and Waddle there? If you want to tier up without using picks, can I use Burden and Waddle? Try to get those 2. I'll give you Burden and Waddle in a second for Nico. I'll do everything in my power not to give up that first, though.
Here's the deal. Can I do Waddle and Burden for Cortland Sutton and a first?
Probably not, because the person that's buying those 2 is probably in a position where they're trying to they're getting youth, so they probably don't want to move.
Well, then I'll give you the 26 second. But the whole goal is I turn that Waddle piece into Sutton because I already have Knicks. I'm aligning those two together, and I'm turning basically a second and Luther Burden into a first. And the way we're talking, at least you and I, with Waddle, we don't view him any differently than Courtland Sutton. He's a couple years younger. That's it. Mm-hmm. He's not an asset. He's not a guy where, a couple good games and he's worth 2 firsts. You know what I mean? Like that period is past with him. So I want to do something with that Waddle asset because he still feels like he has the marketability of like, man, he's a little variance away from being an elite receiver. And it's not remotely close to true. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine moving that piece. Just how can I do it creatively to align with my roster and add some extra value?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, worth swapping it? Yes, I think so. Again, you have a great running back room, but I don't think that excludes you from even trying to take Waddle and a running back and trying to go even higher on the running back market if that can get you there, right? I'm thinking of some of these teams that maybe they have no shot at winning, but they kind of have a couple of cornerstone assets. So you're going to need a rookie probably to throw in there too. Could I send Caleb Johnson and Waddle in a second? How high can I climb that running back ladder there? Can I get to one of the elite guys, right? So even in a 14 by 10 here, I'm willing to condense it at the right spots. You're not going to miss Waddle on the Chase Neighbors lad team, but like Scott said, if you can get a veteran tossed in at cost, something that makes sense, I like that a lot. So thank you, Matthew. Good luck getting something done there, and maybe we'll see you next week with another one. Here we got Dorf. Oh, what was it? Dorf does fantasy.
Dorf does fantasy. There you go. Dorf on trades.
There we go. 10-team super flex. Start 11. Got to start 3 wide receivers. We got a 0.5 tight end premium. Should I send Tua, Debo, and Trey Benson and a 27 second? The other guys, so sending his 27 second back to the person for Daniel Jones.
Yes.
George Pickens, Tank Bigsby, and a late 26 first. Shane, you're already saying yes. Is it because there's a first on one side?
Yeah, I was reading and I saw that. I read like the tour this way. So the late 26 first absolutely is the most important piece in this deal. I'll take Pickens over Debo. I don't care about Tank and Benson in the 27 seconds. Sure, you lost that part of the deal. And Daniel Jones and Tua, they're negligible, the difference for me.
Yeah. Same team you asked about last week. I know you weren't here, Scott, but it's a pretty nice team, right? Burrow, Baker, Nix, Tua, all the quarterback. And again, when you see that quarterback room, Scott, what does that say about the quarterback market in the league, right? So if you can get a first in a deal where you're sending Tua away, I like that a lot. Genty, Bucky, Kamara, Tootin, Scattaboo, Benson, Sampson, Najee. We got Jamar, Nico, Rice, Buka, Godwin, McLaurin, Debo, Burden, Kyle Williams, McBride, Evan Ingram, and Fannin. So, I mean, Scott, looking at this, looking at the trade, what are your thoughts?
Well, Dorf obviously has helped many people with fantasy if he's doing this type of deal because he's taking the quote unquote downgrades at positions where if you look at his roster and then look at the league market, that just don't matter. Like the fact that you're downgrading from Tua to Daniel Jones when your quarterback room is what it is, like I wouldn't let you do that deal on the other side. I'd go like, I mean, I know we have to play our own rosters, but you do have to look at the team that you're trading with and going like, this isn't hurting them at all. Like your goal is still to beat the other teams in my league. When I see them tearing off of Tua for Daniel Jones, and really Daniel Jones is just an opportunity bet, right? If he starts, he's probably better than Tua for fantasy, or they're similar in terms of what they score. And it's your quarterback 4. So that upgrade is useless to him. So sure, you're selling the other team on the quote unquote upgrade when it doesn't matter to you. Like Shane said, Benson to Bigsby, they occupy the same thing. They're backup running backs. Maybe if they get some opportunity, sure, I can use them, but I'm probably not selling either one unless there's just a catastrophic change in either backfield. And then you look at, okay, I'm getting Debo in a second and I'm getting Pickens in a first. Like you're taking the other team to the cleaners in the 2 spots that matter, and then it's not impacting your roster construction at all in the spots you're getting. So great trade. This is how you push a really good team, and you just continue to kind of bully the other teams into, because on the surface, this is a 4 for 4, right? Mm-hmm. It's a quarterback, a receiver, a running back, and a pick straight across the board. And there's probably people that would go player take wise. They love Trey Benson, Tank Bigby's trash. Daniel Jones sucks. He's not going to start. Tua's a starter. You know, Pickens and Debo. Oh, I like Debo a lot for this year, so that's negligible. And then that's going to be an early second and a late first. And I'm just looking at it like, dude, you smashed. Great deal. You pushed your team forward and it's already stacked. Well done.
Yeah. I know Sanford Bam is looking at that, listening back. She's like, Tua and Daniel Jones, same tier? Absolutely not, Scott. But I agree.
You don't disagree? If Dimes starts a 3/4 of the season, would you bet on him being similar to Tua fantasy production-wise? I would.
Fair. I mean, I think if Tua's healthy and if he stayed healthy, I think we might feel a little bit different. So I'll still lean Tua, but I agree. It's probably going to fall in that range where it's probably not going to matter. And on that roster, it really doesn't matter. So you're playing with excess.
I got a question for you. When Tua led the league in passing yards or whatever the hell he did a couple years ago, what did he finish as?
He wasn't even top 12.
He
was what, QB? Was he QB 16, 17, something like that?
Yeah, like he's a nice enough guy. I don't think his ceiling is particularly high.
Yeah, which is probably why he's quarterback 4.
I'm pretty sure Danny Dimes' best peak has been better than Tua's.
Was it?
I think early Danny Dimes, like maybe I'd have to look it up, but it's not that far off. It's really just an opportunity. Like we know Danny Dimes, if he's not the starter in a 10-teamer, he's absolutely roster fodder. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Tua is probably a guy that's more reliable. But if you're actually willing to take the gamble at those two bets, fantasy production wise, you're not going to miss it. And it's a 10-teamer. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this has been the show of 10-teamers, but I'll hit us with this just to get us out of 10-team land. Our final question of the night, we got Turan Kane. Evening, gents. Evening. Is it Turan? I don't know if that's the right pronunciation, but we're going with Turan.
Big T.
Big T. That works too. Big T. 12 team, start 10, super flex, tight end premium. We created Kyler Murray, Puka Nacua, A-Rich, and Milrow for JD5 and Anthony Richardson. So, Shane, I'm going to go into the team here. Team is now JD5, Mahomes, and A-Rod at quarterback. Derrick Henry, Pollard, Warren, and Cans at running back. Neighbors, Collin, T, Downs, and Cans at wide receiver. And McBride, Laporta, and Kelsey at tight end. I see a lot of guys on one side of this trade that I've heard you talk about this offseason. I know you like. You got Puka. I know we like that bet on Milrow as a kind of a stash piece there. Kyler, we know your love for Kyler from last offseason and probably continuing still. So how do you feel here, man? Murray, Puka, A-Rich, Milrow, or JD5 and Anthony Richardson?
I'm staying with Murray and Puka. I mean, A-Rod is I don't want to use the same words that I've used repeatedly tonight, so I'm going to try to find another way to say something that doesn't matter. Insignificant. I don't think I've used that today. Maybe I have. Whatever. A-Rod literally doesn't matter to me. Sure, Milrow and A-Rich cancel A-Rod out for me. So then, in my mind, it's literally I gave up Puka and Murray for JD5, and I get it. JD5 was great. Again, Murray is not that far off of the elite quarterbacks. Like if there's one guy in that tier, the next tier of quarterbacks that could pop his head into that tier for a year or two, I think it's Murray. And Puka obviously is one of the best fantasy wide receivers in football. Because that's the sport he plays. But anyway, he's one of the best fantasy scorers out there. He's one of the highest whatever, English, I don't care. The only problem with Puka is that he plays like a train wreck, right? So, it's a short-term thing, but I don't care anyway. Like, if I get 3 years out of someone, I'm amazed. If someone's on my roster for 3 years, I'd be amazed. So, I want Murray and Puka side.
And Shane, does being the defending champ change that timeline or that review at all for you? No. That
last year is last year. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not wearing the Philadelphia Eagles World Championship hat anymore. Last year's over with.
I'll remember that. If I see that hat pop on stream, I'm gonna rib you for it.
It's definitely popping back on.
Definitely. Yeah. Scott. So 12 by 10, Murray, Puka, A-Rich, and Milrow for JD5 and A-Rod. So again, 2 quarterbacks on one side, 3 quarterbacks on the other. One is the elite tier, but we got that Puka in there. So like, how does this math out for you, and how do you feel?
So this is interesting because I do kind of agree with what Shane said. This is a pretty good package. If you were selling Jaden Daniels and someone offers Kyler Murray and Puka Nacua, you're probably not getting a better 2-for-1 than that. But I think I'm in 46 leagues and I have 1 or 2 Jaden Daniels. This is the only way to get another one. You have to just plug your nose and jump in and go, man, I don't really want to give up Kyler, because as soon as you look at Kyler, you go, well, he's been a top 5 quarterback multiple times. What if he does it again? Man, I'm only getting a 2-point advantage here with Jaden. If Kyler gets to that point, I don't want to do it. And then Puka, Puka's wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, like he could be 20 plus points per game. But I think it comes down to, he just won the ship. I don't know Big T's portfolio per se, but he has a lot of leagues. And this is the only way to get Jaden Daniels, unless you start a brand new league and get him in a startup and you get one of the top 2 picks, or you pay something similar and you find the most unsuspecting trade manager that you can maybe make a better deal with. But like, if you just want a JD, this is what you have to give up. But I can totally see the other side. I actually like the other side getting one of A-Rich and Milrow too, because I bet you there's a window for at least one of those guys for you to flip for maybe not a first, but equivalent to a couple extra seconds in value in this trade. And hell, it could be both of them. So I actually like the other side. Like, he gave up more than I would have wanted to just hand over. But like, Ty, you're not getting Jaden Daniels any other way. And if I only have 1 out of 45, there's better than a 3-4% chance that he is just the next Lamar or Josh Allen, where he's ripping off top 3 seasons back to back to back. And in 5 years, you're going to go, man, did you really regret that Kyler and Puka package when one of them is irrelevant and he's still at 26 years old, the quarterback 1 in Dynasty, and he's had back-to-back QB1 seasons? Like, you're not going to regret it. This is what it takes, though.
Daniels will be 28 in 5 years.
This
29.
is what it takes.
Yeah.
It does take a lot, yeah.
The price is the price is the price.
Yeah, Kane Kuran just pointed out that is his first JD5 share. I understand from that perspective. I do. I get it. Look, I'm not going to knock you because you get in a deal where you get JD5. It's just a lot more than I'm willing to pay to get to him. That's all.
Well, I mean, Scott, you mentioned you like getting the Puka and the A-Rich, but doesn't that also work from the other side too, where I'm taking 3 quarterbacks and no liquid picks? Yes, I have to give up Puka, but I get into JD5 that way. I get another quarterback back in the deal too. So it's almost like you are still playing with the excess value that's sitting there on your team. And again, if I have Mahomes on this team as well, I'm not swapping around A-Rich, A-Rod, and Milrow and all that. But again, if I'm okay with the Kyler and Puka for JD5 piece of it, then what's adding a couple other extra pieces in to get to the piece that you actually want in Dynasty and JD5? So I'm cool with the Big T. Just again, this is probably the price. You have to get uncomfortable to get these kind of assets. That's why you don't see these kind of trades often. So this is probably what it takes. And if A-Rich and Milrow is what pushes it across the line, then so be it. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we did the damn thing. This was the Dynasty Deal Show. Thank you so much. Again, if you're watching this back, make sure you hit join. Join us next time. We want to see you here. Otherwise, hit us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Big shout out. Well, we'll end the show. We'll hit the bumper on it. Bang. And now we'll hop into thank you to John K, Anthony West. We got Roy G, Dynasty Mark, Jackson Tribe, Matthew Kuran, Dorf in fantasy. Dorf does fantasy. Dorf does all the fantasy stuff. Yeah. And Big T. Thank you so much. Yeah, T, great show. Appreciate me, man. We love y'all, and we out of this thing. Peace.